Well then, second game of the match between Mad Goose Bad and Deities of Death is gonna be on Medit. That's a whole lot standard game that we are used to from especially Age of Mythology Titans from RTS League and other tournaments, but the gods are gonna be a whole lot different this time. Well, so you can see that Joe is having a set. Interesting choice for Medit. Maybe it's gonna be for Shifting Sense. Yeah, I'm kind of expecting something like that, Shifting Sense with animals. That's probably why he's picking set, as it's not really half bad in Vanilla. GrandMonster is gonna be playing Thor, because Thor is very viable on water in Vanilla. Brickhead is Poseidon, and Wolves is gonna be Poseidon as well. So those two, well, that's gonna be an interesting battle between them, and we should be expecting, of course, Pestilence from both, as that is a very strong power on water battles. And let's see who's gonna be making a mistake with placing his docks, because Pestilence is having quite a huge range. Quite a huge range indeed. So we are starting looking at Joe. As lures are being cast, let's just basically turn off the fog of war, so that we see what's gonna be happening at the very start as well. Gonna be seeing the lure there, right next to TC. And how many animals does he have actually nearby? This one maybe is gonna be too close to actually be gathered by the lure. Otherwise, he's of course having a few piggies on the right, even more of them in there. And then a bit further, are we seeing some kind of hunt actually? Because so far that's a ton of piggies actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 doubles of piggies. That's 12 piggies just in the right corner of the map between Brickhead and Joe. Well, let's see if it's gonna be the same for the opponents. That's really kind of unusual. 1, 2, 3. It seems to be the same for both. 5. Yeah, it's gonna be the same for both, but that is kind of strange having so many piggies. But well, that just happened. And otherwise on the water we can see that the fishing seems to be reasonably okay. Not really any kind of blind spots or anything. Potentially there could have been a blind spot here, but nobody spawned there, so yeah, kind of who cares at this point. As of course the dogs are gonna be placed a bit more into the front. And that of course means that... Well, are we gonna be seeing some kind of stealing? Potentially. I don't really like this position of this dog all that much. It's definitely could have gone a bit better for us, a bit more into the middle. You can see because of that and that, because he doesn't have anything on the left side. And it's kind of just facing towards this ally. Or rather towards this ally. Yeah, towards this ally. Right now, slightly confused by the colors in there for a moment. And he might be really trying to steal maybe this. And GrandMonster is definitely not gonna be thanking for any kind of attempt like that. Not really great. Not really all that great. At the same time, on the right, yeah, the positions of the dogs are a whole lot better. Makes plenty of sense. You can see there's gonna be plenty of issues for the early economies. So not really any kind of issue for anybody. And how's it looking with TCs and water range? This seems to be close, but safe. I think this is gonna be safe. It shouldn't be really in water range. Not really in the water range in there. And... the tooth arrows is gonna be the relic right next there. For archers and ballista pierce attack. Well, that's gonna be mainly for the archers, or it's actually next to wolves. Or who is actually the Thor? Right now GrandMonster, who might be interested in that for ballistas a bit later, but it's kind of far away. So not really all that optimistic that he's gonna be able to get that as Teamplay is coming down, which means you're gonna be advancing at about 4:15, 4:30 at this point, as the second relic is at the bottom, and that is gonna be Harmonious Necklace for a better villager gold get rate. That's actually quite a significant one, and will be helping whoever is gonna be able to take that. As we are gonna be finishing looking at the TCs, this is definitely in water range. So importance of winning water is right there because of this town center. So it's almost looking like that actually Mad Goose Bad are gonna be looking at somehow being forced to win the water, because if they don't, then yeah, 1 TC less is usually a pretty hard deal for them. And well, as we are looking at the auras getting converted, I actually forgot to switch the score. So let's just do that. Let's pause for a moment and put up the score into the correct position, like 1-0. And yep, let's continue. So sorry about that. Sorry about that. Well, in the meantime, there's another relic on the very right corner of the map, which is gonna be for what? That is gonna be for Trojan Trojan gate hinge. Damn it. For better wall hit points, which... not that huge for Medit. Not that huge. And the other relics are gonna be slightly better. How's it actually looking for example, with gold? 1, 2, 3 gold mines. It's not bad. That's gonna be lasting them for a bit longer. That's not really tragic at all, as we are also looking at least gold mines, 2 gold mines for the opponents on the left side. So still plenty of it. And otherwise, there are plenty of them right next to front DCs in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's gonna be literally the same on the left side. Yeah, 4 golds right next to the front DC in here, and plenty more extras in the corners, so they seem to be really fairly spawned, and I'm kind of liking how it is so far, as that should be aiming for quite a fair game overall. So Ptach coming up for Joe. For GrandMonster, it's gonna be Freya almost up at 4:30 as we were expecting. Wuffles is just now coming. Wow, he's actually coming from Ceasefire. Okay, so he maybe was actually expecting. Yeah, this is horrible. This is gonna be... this is exactly how you shouldn't place dogs against a Poseidon or water. That's gonna be, of course, Pestilence, so yeah. What are you gonna do right about now? Even Ceasefire is not exactly great counter god power. It's not a great counter god power to Pestilence, because it still doesn't solve the situation that you cannot build boats, but your opponent can. So I'm not entirely certain what the logic behind the Ceasefire actually is. It just should have been Pestilence. Just should have been. It's really kind of weird. And this should be resulting into quite a significant advantage right off the bat. 4 dots, and let's see if they're gonna be able to take it and use it. So, Vision being cast in there. That's gonna be 15 cents, basically stealing Oxcart with 2 Dwarfies. So that's maybe one of the reasons for the Ceasefire. To basically save all of these villages and whatnot. And is it really all that significant? I kinda don't think so. What I would have liked a bit more from Joe would be the opposite. Basically taking on... I'm looking at the wrong player. Right now, taking all his animals. That's something I would be expecting. Basically shifting on top of this, on top of the wood line. And that would have been forcing quite a lot of idle time. So yeah, that's usually how you use it. At least from what I have seen in 1v1s. In Vanilla. If I remember correctly, that is. And it would have been a bit more effective than what has been done, but still, it's gonna be a slowdown of the economy, and everything like that at this point counts. Okay, so Ceasefire still, of course, right now not going off, still 10 seconds, that's gonna be a few boats in there, plenty of boats from blue, and how's it looking for it? It's having actually a lot of them, whereas blue not that much. Not that much at all. And looking at the sheer numbers and whatnot, this is gonna be a resounding victory actually for Mad Goods Bad. MCB. Now they are even killing Hippocampus in here. And well, it doesn't seem like that actually the Pestilence was given any kind of significant bonus to DoD so far. It's gonna be all about if actually Joe can come back into the game with some kind of stronger economy and basically decide it just by himself. Because so far this is looking not that huge. And the reason for that is because in Vanilla, all the boats are absolutely the same. There's absolutely no difference between the individual boats, which means that it's all about the proper numbers. And once you don't have the numbers, you just kinda screwed. You don't have all that many options how to come back. Only option, reasonable one, is, or rather are, god powers, and if you don't have them, then some kind of absolutely next level micro. But that so far doesn't seem to be happening all that much, not much kiting or anything going on at all. And even though dots are right now at least managing to stay alive in here, is it gonna be really enough in the long run? Not really that certain, but apparently it might. As GrandMonster doesn't have all that many replacements in here, because he's having of course trouble on the left side because of Joe. Also on the land a bit, you can see forcing a few villages from the woodline in there in the end, somewhere else. But much more important than anything else is actually the advance from the bottom, which more or less stopped any kind of reinforcements from GrandMonster, and he wasn't able to supply anything more. You can even see that he's quite falling on the score. He's basically right now 250 behind the next player, and that's a significant difference at this point. So yeah, it seems that there is a problem for GrandMonster going quite strong, and he should be probably thinking about maybe even switching into some kind of land aggression at this point. Maybe it could be some kind of idea for him, but yeah, well, so far this is looking at this point quite promising for dots. Quite promising for dots. looking at just a moment ago, it looked like that actually DoD should be losing. But then a few things happened, and it's exactly the opposite. And what's nice to see in actually the high-level games, because every little mistake is gonna be costing you significantly. Also, is there something else going on right about now? Just the Pharaoh kind of playing with fire. Already the Orok has died, and he's just basically waiting to be killed as well. Trying to be annoying in the meantime, which is of course working quite well so far. As Blue is doing a good job trying to deal with all of this. And since the dogs, of course, in Vanilla don't shoot, yeah, it's not really all that hard to actually finish with the opponent once he is on the ropes. Plenty of boats from Teal. But once actually Blue gets there, it's gonna be over. Yeah, as Red is right now basically gone. He's probably not even investing anymore in the water, right? Yeah, he's just basically right now out. He's gonna be just going for the heroic age, for Longhouse, and for some kind of farms in the meantime. As of course, this is gonna be just total destruction of Wuffles, and his... basically his task at this point is gonna be trying to keep the opponents busy for as long as possible, allowing his teammate to recuperate and also to give him some extra time to start producing food from the farms. Okay, so total massacre on the water, and we already see a bit of a movement by Joe on the right. It's gonna be probably villagers coming forward. Yes, they already are, for a few barracks, and then they're probably gonna be right now aiming for this front TC, trying to already steal it from GrandMonster, because of course, kinda why not? He's gonna be having some kind of backing from arrow ships from the water. They can be hanging in this position in there, and it's gonna be probably in range from just basically the arrow ships, not even needing the siege barges all that much. As yeah, well, one boat is gonna be there, trying to slow down the economy that is already with Poseidon, and it makes plenty of sense. Yet again, the non-shooting dogs are giving the water quite a lot of extra depth. Quite a lot of extra depth in there. As you can do quite a lot of different stuff, and of course it doesn't allow all that much of a comeback in a situation where, quite frankly, the comeback shouldn't be all that much possible in the first place. Yeah. In the meantime, of course, Green is advancing forward as well. He's gonna be having a bit of a settlement taken once he gets into the heroic age. How's it looking actually for him? Brickhead, the economy is not that bad for him. Can see 500 food. He's definitely getting nearby the range of the heroic age, but Joe isn't all that much. He needs a bit more economy on the water from those fishing boats, and especially he also needs to switch into a bit more farms, because he does have the armory, but unfortunately he doesn't have enough to produce enough army and at the same time produce of course the heroic age as well. It seems that he's kinda content with the classical. It's almost looking like that he actually might be wanting to close the game in classical age altogether. His opponent is having armory. Let's check GrandMonster at 500. He's actually looking for the heroic age at this point, which might be quite nicely abused by Joe if he actually plays it correctly, because he does have right now the economical advantage, and that is resulting into the bigger army as well, and might be really slowing his opponent quite significantly, because he's gonna be running out of gold. He cannot go into the front in there, and he will have to move all the way back. So if he's actually gonna be waiting for that kind of transition, he could be really killing him right there, because without gold, yeah, good luck advancing into heroic age. I mean, like, he's gonna be advancing, but what he's gonna be doing there, because all the units are of course gonna be quite gold intensive that he's gonna be wanting to make. Will potentially help him in the fights. So a bit of tactical walling, with the towers being just now done, and a bit of a slinging actually from Wuffles, helping his teammate to propel himself into the heroic age, because yeah, right now he kinda recognizes that he needs to go for the frost to stop this army as soon as possible, and he just doesn't have the army yet to even withstand some kind of meaningful pressure by Joe. Joe, in the meantime, he is going for even a hunt, still not really wanting to switch into farms yet. Going for a bit of walling, basically trying to secure the TC for himself altogether. As at the top side, already Brickhead with medium Hippicons coming into the enemy, who is also having mediums, but doesn't seem to be having the same numbers. They are very similar, but problem for Wuffles is that actually Brickhead is having a few boats that he can lead the army to, and that means that basically, yeah, the battlefield choice is gonna be the most important stuff in here. Hack damage upgrade, hello. His opponent doesn't have that. That actually is making quite a bit of difference. You can see 11 attack for Wuffles, whereas for Brickhead is already 12. So in basically big engagements and a bit longer engagement, it's gonna be making a bit of difference. But so are gonna be making difference, of course, those Toxotai, as they are an extra unit that so far Brickhead doesn't have. So the numbers are just gonna be getting a bit better for him. At the same time, I'm not entirely liking how Wuffles has actually set up himself in here. I mean, like, why not go closer to the TC? Because he's almost giving it up. Giving a bit of opportunity for Brickhead to potentially steal it for himself. As on the water, there is just a bit of a cleanup job by Joe. Yeah, Red has lost all the dogs. But, yeah, kind of comeback is definitely not out of the question in here at all. It still could be coming up. Is that kind of weird animation next to the blacksmith in there. Well, anyway, it seems that Joe is gonna be intent on taking things a bit slowly. Not really interested to basically make any kind of mistake. That is not the way through. There are trees all around. He's gonna be even taking the TC or the gold for himself. The market is gonna be making for a very good trade. That's gonna be pretty sweet one. Coming across the shoreline, that's not that much of an issue if they're controlling it. And from all the way down, not bad. Not bad. So of course TC stolen. That's gonna be a second one for him. Maybe he's gonna be jumping into the third one as well. Definitely could be happening because of course second is already there for GrandMonster. Unfortunately Joe didn't use the opportunity to raid him all the gold on the gold when he was switching. So he's still gonna be surviving for a bit longer. But at the same time, those two gold mines are legitimately the last ones for them. And it's gonna be then up to trade, and the trade is not gonna be all that efficient, and much more importantly, they seem to be in a tough situation, because unless this kind of expansion works for GrandMonster, he's gonna be basically right under attack in his base TC. And well, good luck dealing with that, as Brickhead is right now using the bronze, even getting some bronze boats in here, and also looking for Wuffles, just now switching the Aphrodite. And that's a proper counter god power. That's a proper counter god power, of course, to bronze. And he right now will have to retreat from the position in there. Yeah, well, Brickhead, nice idea, but he will have to return a bit later. But still, yet again, it's still an opportunity to take the TC from his opponent, which I kind of think should be taken. You can see he's having almost the resources, so he could be already sending villages. Maybe even there, coming for the TC, but he kinda switched this idea. Oh no, these were apparently hunters or something coming for Granary in there. But at any rate, getting a TC at this point will be quite crucial for him. He's at least taking the second one behind his base. Because of course Wuffles is taking a second behind his base as well. So they are gonna be on equal footing. But yeah, well, still this problem remains. Still the problem remains, and even though he's trying to right now go for the TC, I'm kinda thinking he's gonna be stopped. He's probably gonna be stopped fairly soon. At any rate, second TC has been finished, third is finished for Joe as well, fourth is so far not coming up, which kinda makes sense because he cannot really afford all that much economy boosting, or basically making all that many villages that fast. And hell, well, right now Wuffles is gonna be opening the door. This is exactly, thank you, one of the rare uses of Forest Fire to get into somewhere where you cannot otherwise. This is exactly what Forest Fire Sim is mainly meant for. It's not meant for basically like scaring your opponent, trying to get rid of one of his forests and getting rid of few villages, because you usually don't. It's meant for exactly this. When your opponent is turtled and there is a forest, you cast the forest fire and you're suddenly in. That's the main purpose, so nice to see. Unfortunately so far not really used properly, but he is already gonna be basically trying to prevent the wall-in, which should be successful at this stage. And that will result into harder defense for Joe. If he's actually gonna be the one defending, because he's right now having the more TCs, as the TC in the middle has been actually taken, and that's a bit sloppy by Brickhead. Letting that TC actually fall into enemy hands when the battlefield was quite behind it. That's a very nice little play by Wuffles. Well, catching Brickhead off guard. But yeah, well, it seems that it might not be really standing for a bit, or rather for too long at this point. Because right now there's gonna be Tornado at the bottom, getting rid of all of this. Yeah, those hill forts are gone. At the very same time. And that's actually horrible news for GrandMonster. Because he was already trying to establish his market in the hill fort and whatever, hoping that this is gonna be some kind of way of defending. And suddenly, is anything but? He's right now open. He's absolutely open to everything. And that's not good. He's having plenty of army, which could be working. You can see he's having some medium hoop scale, some medium upgrade with hack damage protection for him as well. With the bronze armor in there. For the opponent, we don't see anything yet. But yeah, the sheer numbers are just gonna be really a bit of a problem for him. And even though at the top, Wuffles is able to defend himself and actually playing quite well against Brickhead at this point, it seems like. 3 versus 3 TCs, they seem to be having quite a good 1v1. Even through the extra bonus into the economy to Brickhead. Well, here we go, GrandMonster coming for Tyr, and that means that's gonna be Frost on all the army, and of course he's gonna be having quite a good opportunity to push forward, and maybe even slow down and take down the TC if it wasn't for all the mercenaries. For the fortified TC, it's gonna be the only upgrade in here so far, and even the heavy throwing axemen don't seem to be really strong enough to deal with the problem at hand all that much at this point. Because yeah, the mercenaries, they are a huge issue. Because you could be thinking that the Frost is gonna be giving you opportunity because you are stopping an army for 40 seconds. But then, Egyptian goes and replaces the army. Well, at this point basically for free. Because the game, how the game is going and how he's having the golds, yeah, it's not really that much of a difference for him. If he invests into all those mercenaries. You can see he basically right now bought up all the mercenaries and he's still at 1500 gold. So like, who cares? Who cares? Because of course he's gonna be just quite a decisive push forward with all the ancestors in here. So yep, this is gonna be Joe coming forward. As well as at the top, it seems that Brickhead is gonna be pushing through as well. As how is it looking with the upgrades? Baseline is coming in there. For the opponent, yeah, it's a bit better in there, and the Bacchanalia with the extra hit points, that is making a difference. And that's the reason why actually GGs are gonna be called, and DoD are gonna be actually tying the match against MCB. That was a nice battle. Didn't really understand the choice of Wuffles all that much for the ceasefire in there. I'm kinda thinking the logic was really protection of the villages from the shifting sands from the set. Because that's like the only viable option I can think of. That seems like that. In which case it's not bad, but it's also kind of halfway giving up the water. Because the Pestilence is a huge problem. And if you cannot counter Pestilence into your opponent, which you could have. Can you see how Brickhead built his docks? This is just asking to be Pestilenced. You just don't do this. You just don't do this at all. And it's gonna be even cast on Joe. You can see cast it here, and he would have been taking all 3 of them as well. That's how huge range actually Pestilence has. So yeah, well, dots. Please improve your placement of docks on Medit or any kind of water map against Poseidon. Otherwise you're gonna be paying for it quite significantly. But well, has to be said that even vanilla players fell for it. You could have seen Wuffles placing the docks right next to each other, about here and here. And yeah, well, a bit more precautions could be actually useful. And it's kind of tough, because it's really very strong god power. Very strong god power for water in vanilla. And it's kind of not bad even in actually in Titans. It shouldn't be underestimated. So Brickhead is having quite a good economy on food. Well, of course the economy is gonna be better for dots because of the water and whatever. Not really that much of a difference, or rather nothing all that unexpected. Villager high at 90 for Joe, definitely nice boom for him. As otherwise, well, Brickhead at 70, not really that much different from Wuffles. And it really was reflected in the battlefield. It wasn't coming for Brickhead all that significantly. He probably was just basically living off the fact that he was first to pick the aggression, and he didn't really relent all the time. He was like attacking all the time, not really giving any kind of opportunity to Wuffles through anything. But Wuffles did a great job. Kind of stealing the TC for himself in there. That was nice. That was really nice. That was a sharp drop for Brickhead. In the civilian units. Huh. Well, that actually was. That is strange. He had to lose a lot of villages somewhere. I didn't notice that. Maybe here? I don't know. I didn't really see anything unusual in there. So maybe it was really something like that. That he was trying to take the TC himself and basically lost the villages or some kind of raid in by Teal. But yeah, well. Didn't notice that, so sorry about that kind of thing. But that's a significant drop from about 70 to 50. Huh. Or maybe he just basically was going for army. Don't know. He wasn't having all that many extra resources, so I'm not really sure. Not really sure what went on in there. Well, GG.